Well, we're really into the horse race handicapping now. The New Republic's Jonathan Chait writes, after exactly one contest, and I quote, Hillary Clinton is toast. And on the morning of the Iowa caucuses, the Politico reported that sources close to Fred Thompson's campaign said that he would drop out if he finished poorly in Thursday's Iowa caucuses. NBC's Tim Russert had this to say hours before the votes were tallied.
Unless Fred Thompson pulls a miracle tonight, I really do believe that he'll be withdrawing from this race, and odds are endorsing John McCain.
Thompson finished a distant third in Iowa with 13% of the vote, and at last check is still in the race. Joining us now to talk about the media's campaign spin here in Washington, Clarence Page, columnist for the Chicago Tribune, and Amanda Carpenter, national political reporter for townhall.com. Clarence Page, what is this media obsession with predicting in advance who's going to drop out?
We've always got to sound like we are on top of the news even before the news has happened, and we're also afflicted with MADS, media attention deficit disorder. I mean, it's like, you know, we live in the moment. You know, if Barack Obama, for example, does not win New Hampshire Tuesday night, suddenly the conventional wisdom will shift again. And this is what's happened with Fred Thompson, with these various other candidates.
I guess there's no vaccine for that syndrome. Amanda Carpenter. But doesn't this add to the kind of death watch feeling surrounding Thompson's campaign? I mean, the media hyped this guy when he was a non-candidate and have basically written him off now, right?
Well, you know, we've seen a couple candidates drop off on the Democratic side, and I think some media people are eager to start counting people off on the Republican side as well.
After one state vote? Why?
Well,
you don't like to make candidates?
Sure. I mean, you saw, even from the debates last night, I felt like the Democratic debate had a better quality to it just because there's less people on stage.
Sure.
And so I think people are eager to start, you know, contrasting candidates one-on-one against each other, and the sooner you can pair them off, the quicker you can do that.
Mike Huckabee on Monday, it seems now about like 4 weeks ago, he had a news conference and he was going to play a negative ad against Mitt Romney. And then he had second thoughts, and watch this tape and look at the reaction of the reporters in that room.
I know that some of you are saying that, well, did you really have an ad? I want to show you the ad. You'll get a chance to find out exactly. You see it. This is what we plan to do.
So the reporters had a very cynical reaction to Huckabee saying he's not going to air the ad, but here we can look at it one time.
Right.
It didn't seem to matter in terms of the Iowa outcome.
Well, no, you're right. I think most people thought it was a pretty innocent little slip, if you want to call it a slip, on Huckabee's part. It was kind of like, just between you and me, I want to show you guys this ad so you'll know I really got one. You know, but for those of us in the media, we call that free advertising. You know, when a candidate produces an ad, doesn't pay for airtime, but shows it to journalists, knowing that we're going to put it on the air. So, you know, it's that little disconnect.
Huckabee doesn't have much money, so I mean, look what this guy does. He goes on Jay Leno. He invites the press to watch him get a haircut. I love that video if we've got that. He talks to reporters on his plane. He plays in a band, and everybody uses the pictures. Is this round-the-clock accessibility working for him?
Well, it certainly did in Iowa. I don't know if it'll work the same in New Hampshire, but I'm talking to some people on the ground in Iowa when I was there, and it was interesting. A lot of people didn't even know about this fake negative ad, and they didn't know he was going to be on Leno because it's so close to the cycle. So I'm not even sure you can say that added up to it, but certainly his charisma paid off there. We'll see if it does in New Hampshire.
I think that haircut thing must have been a presidential campaign first. Now, talk about handicapping.
$300 for it.
Yeah. John McCain, every time I pick up the paper now, it says he was left for dead. Well, he was left for dead by the media last summer before anyone was paying attention when he had some fundraising and staffing problems. Now he has a good chance of winning New Hampshire. Now, do you have the sense that reporters are really rooting for this guy? It's a good comeback story.
I hope we're not rooting for him, but we do root for good stories. That's the thing, you know. I've always said this, you know, the real media bias is for a good story, and sometimes we will hype a story when it's just a little glitch of an event. I remember when Barack Obama was being written off for dead back in September, folks talking about, not quite dead, but saying, hey, he's in trouble. You know, Hillary Clinton was just barreling ahead, yeah, and Dave Axelrod and his people were saying, no, hang on, we're on our timetable.
But there is this McCain narrative in the press. You don't see any stories, for example, about, well, there could be a Mitt Romney comeback in New Hampshire, and he could bounce back from Iowa. I just don't sense a lot of sympathy there for Romney.
Well, sure, this is something that McCain has tried to bring out in the campaign trail as well, though, that I have this kind of survivor mentality. And at the end of the day, he is the man who said that the surge was going to work. Now we see evidence of that, and so he has all the credit to go out there and say, I was right, and that is a great story to write.
But do you think the journalists are more sympathetic to McCain than to Romney? At least at the margins in terms of the way these two men are portrayed.
From what I've seen, yes, I think that is true.
All right, we've got